This is Delhi, the capital of India, the most populous country in the world. 34 million people call this giant metropolis home. The chaos and confusion that most Westerners experience, myself included, as we walk down the street, is just everyday life for the people here. Huge crowds of people everywhere you look. Drivers that don't even pretend to follow traffic rules, and the constant city noise of millions of people going about their lives can be overwhelming at first. But if you give it 2 to 3 days and let yourself embrace the chaos, it really grows on you. After a few months in Delhi, I can tell you now, I'm really starting to like it. Especially when you realize that there's a lot more to Delhi than meets the eye. There are hidden gems all around this incredible metropolis, waiting to be explored and experienced. One such gem is the Red Fort, or Lal Qila. Originally built by the Mughal Emperor Shah Jahan in 1639, when he decided to shift his capital from Agra to Delhi, the Red Fort is one of the most popular tourist destinations in Delhi today and attracts thousands of people every year. You can easily get here through the Metro Violet line and get off at either the Lal Qila or the Jama Masjid stations. Then there's a short 15 minutes walk from the station to the main gate. It's actually a very nice walk going around the actual fort. Named after the massive enclosing walls of red sandstone, the design is credited to architect Ustad Ahmad Lahori, who also constructed the Taj Mahal. Aside from its great historical value, the Red Fort has also played a very important role as a monument of national significance to all Indians since 1947. It was in fact on August 15th of 1947 when the first Prime Minister of India, Jawaharlal Nehru, raised the Indian flag above the Lahori Gate for the first time, following India's independence from the British rule. Every year since, on India's Independence Day, the Prime Minister hoists the Indian tricolor flag at the top of the fort's main gate and delivers a speech to the whole nation. The fort also appears on the back of the 500 rupees bill of the Mahatma Gandhi series of the Indian rupee. It was then not surprising at all for us to realize that the vast majority of visitors were in fact Indian. As a matter of fact, this is something very interesting that we have experienced in India since we arrived. Wherever we go, monuments, historic buildings, museums, wherever you might find tourists, we noticed that most of the tourists are Indian nationals. At first, we didn't understand this, since you find quite the opposite in every other country around the world where it is mostly foreigners that visit these kind of places. But then you think about it and you start to realize that India is the size of a whole continent and has a population of 1.5 billion people. So even if only a small percentage of them visit other parts of India as tourists, you're still talking about hundreds of millions of people. But it is time to go inside and explore. After paying the 900 rupees or $11 per person and going through the security checkpoint, we arrive at the Lahori Gate, which is the main entrance to the fort and is a very popular spot for visitors to stop and take pictures. Once through the gate, a small courtyard leads to the Chatta-bazaar, meaning the roofed market. The history of this small market dates back to the 17th century when it catered to the ladies and the nobles of the regime. Usually, the ladies' day was restricted to 1 day a week, as it was considered taboo to have male shopkeepers around while the women shopped. During the Mughal period, the bazaar was very exclusive, specializing in luxury goods such as silks, velvet, gold, silverware, jewelry, and precious stones, catering to the expensive taste of the imperial lifestyle. Today, the shops sell mainly souvenirs and jewelry to tourists and visitors. Right after the market, we arrive at the Nawbat Khana, or the drum house. Positioned between the outer and the inner courtyards, this two-story building served as the parking bay for the palace guests who arrived usually on elephants or horses. Originally, the walls and ceilings were painted in gold. We can still see some traces of that on the walls of the entrance chamber. Back when the emperors lived here, musicians stationed at the drum house would announce the arrival of the emperor and other dignitaries. And if you enjoy learning about amazing places like this one, then you should probably subscribe to our channel today so we can continue to take you exploring around the world with us, and of course, don't forget to like this video. From this point forward, the space really opens up and we get a feel for how large the fort really is. It covers an area of 255 acres, enclosed by 2.5 kilometers of defensive walls, rising to a height of 75 feet. This early in the morning, everything feels relaxed and peaceful as we walk around the Red Fort. Today, we arrived at 9 in the morning, right when the fort opened, and as you can see, it felt that we were the only people here for the first few hours. However, by 11 or so, we started to notice the crowd slowly building up, and by the time we left at 1 p.m., the place was already packed. Our next stop is the Diwan-i-Aam pavilion. This stunning red pavilion is open on 3 sides and decorated with an impressive 27 arches organized in 3 rows. The hall is 100 feet long and 60 feet wide, and at the center stands a beautiful marble canopy and the throne. Right up there is where the emperor would sit and listen to his subjects' pleas. This pavilion was where the emperor gave audiences to the general public to hear their grievances. The Red Fort is considered to represent the peak of Mughal architecture and creativity, which under Emperor Shah Jahan in the early 1600s was brought to a whole new level of refinement. The Mughal period marked a striking revival of the Islamic architecture in the north of India. Persian, Indian, and various provincial styles were fused to produce works of exceptional quality. Unfortunately, very few of the original buildings still stand today. The most important surviving structures are the walls and ramparts, the main gates, the audience halls, and the imperial apartments by the riverside. That's where we're headed now. The royal apartments consist of a row of pavilions connected by a continuous water channel known as the Stream of Paradise. The first of the pavilions is the Rang Mahal, which translates to the Palace of Colors. This was the largest of the royal apartments and it housed the imperial harem. The interior was once richly painted and decorated, from which it derives the name, and tiny pieces of mirror covered the ceilings, but little of them can be seen today. To the left of the Rang Mahal, we find the Khas Mahal, the private palace of the emperor. The interior is decorated with carved white marble painted with detailed floral decorations. Beyond the Khas Mahal is the Diwan-i-Khas. The Diwan-i-Khas was the most important hall and is by far the most ornate of the Red Fort's many palaces. This is where the emperor met with the most important courtiers and visitors. Unlike the Diwan-i-Aam pavilion, which we visited and explored earlier, which was built with red sandstone, this hall is made completely of white marble. The lower part of the columns are decorated with floral designs, while the upper portions are painted and gilded. In 1803, the Red Fort would come under the control of the British East India Company, and the interior of the hall was plundered following the Indian Rebellion of 1857. The throne, the carpets, and all of the furniture went missing. The hall today is therefore only a shell of what it used to be. Next to the Diwan-i-Khas stands the Moti Masjid, or the Pearl Mosque. Built by Emperor Aurangzeb in 1660, this white marble structure with 3 small domes was used as the palace mosque by the Mughal emperors and their families. Unfortunately, we were not able to take a look inside the mosque, as it is off limits to visitors. The area north of the Moti Masjid is occupied by a large garden called the Hayat-Bakhsh-Bagh, which means a life-bestowing garden. This beautiful garden is decorated with beautiful pools, water canals, and fountains. Unfortunately, the water system no longer operates today, but sitting here, taking it all in, one can only imagine how magical this place probably was when it was first constructed back in 1639. At either side of the garden, we find the Sawan and the Badon pavilions, which are 2 almost identical buildings facing on opposite ends of the water canal. Both of the pavilions carved out of beautiful white marble. Sawan and Badon are the names of the 2 most rainy months of the Hindu calendar during the monsoon season. When buying the admission tickets to the Red Fort, visitors have 2 options. You can either buy the standard ticket, which costs you 600 rupees and gives you access to the fort and all the palaces, or there's another option, which is what we did, for 900 rupees, that also gives you access to all of the museums within the fort. There are 7 museums inside the Red Fort complex. Out of the 7, there were 2 that stood out and impressed us the most. The first one was the Stamps and Philatelic exhibition, which tells the story of the post in India from the 1200s until today. The exhibition uses stamps to illustrate important moments of Indian history and to highlight some of the cultural and social heroes over the centuries. The other museum was the Subhash Chandra Bose Museum or the War Museum. In general, I usually enjoy learning about history, and this museum gave me an opportunity to learn about Indian history, of which I knew very little about. Expositions here cover various topics, from the Indian independence periods to India's participation in the First and Second World Wars. Overall, we spent around 4 hours exploring the Red Fort, and we walked away very impressed with how well kept and preserved the site is today. So far, in our opinion, India has proved to be an amazing country with delicious food, a beautiful culture, and extremely friendly and helpful people. There is, however, another country in Asia also known for its friendly people and an incredible culture. I'm talking about, of course, Thailand. Known for busy streets, delicious food, and ancient temples. If you also want to learn about Thailand, I recommend watching our video reviewing and exploring the Wat Pho Temple, one of the oldest temples in Asia. You should be able to find the link for that video right here. Wat Pho, a temple complex that dates back to the 16th century and is renowned as the birthplace of the traditional Thai massage. And of course, if you haven't already, make sure you subscribe to our channel right now and make sure to like this video. In any case, I'm glad you enjoyed this video and I'll see you next time.